Seniors, most people will never tell you this. But waking up at 3 a.m. is not a normal part of aging, nor is it a mandatory tax you pay for getting older. It is actually your body screaming a silent, urgent distress signal that you have likely been ignoring for years. Imagine this scenario because I know you have lived it 1,000 times. Lying in a deep sleep, desperately repairing your joints and flushing toxins. Then, without any warning or noise in the house, your eyes snap open and you look at the clock to find it is almost always the same time. Whether it is 2:58 a.m. or 3:14 a.m. It always happens during that specific window of the night when the world is dead silent. You feel a strange energy in your chest, which isn't quite panic, but rather an alertness that shouldn't be there as your heart beats faster than it should. Your mind immediately starts racing about tiny, insignificant things you can't control, and though you try to find a comfortable spot, sleep has evaporated like mist. The shocking part is that more than 72% of adults over the age of 60 experience these specific nighttime awakenings, which doctors often label as insomnia or stress. While they might blame an overactive bladder, new research from Harvard Medical School suggests they are looking at symptoms rather than the root cause. Researchers have begun to uncover that this specific wake-up call is often caused by just one missing mineral that disrupts your sleep cycle like a broken circuit board. Biologically, right around 2:58 a.m., when your body should be repairing itself, your brain perceives a crisis due to this nutrient deficiency. To save you, it commands your adrenal glands to release a surge of cortisol into your bloodstream, which acts like a shot of adrenaline directly to the heart. This cortisol spike tricks your body into thinking there is a predator in the room, creating a domino effect throughout your entire physiology. It disrupts the release of melatonin and weakens your sleep pressure while causing your muscles to microtense without you even realizing it. In today's video, we are going deep to uncover the 5 minerals every senior must balance to sleep through the night. Counting down to the number 1 deficiency. Fixing these minerals doesn't just help you sleep deeper, but it also calms your heart rhythm and restores the kind of restful nights you haven't felt since your 40s. Let's begin the countdown with number 5. The selenium shield. Because most seniors do not realize the invisible role it plays in managing inflammation. We tend to think of inflammation as physical pain, but there is another kind called oxidative stress that happens on a cellular level deep inside your mitochondria. During the day, your body burns fuel, creating smoke called free radicals, and nighttime is when the cleaning crew scrubs that smoke away. This cleaning process is powered by a master enzyme called glutathione peroxidase, which essentially acts as the fire extinguisher for your cells. However, the critical catch is that you cannot build this fire extinguisher without selenium, which is the spark plug that turns this enzyme on. When selenium levels drop due to poor soil quality, the fire extinguisher stops working, and oxidative stress builds up in your system while you sleep. By 3 a.m., this internal inflammation reaches a tipping point where your brain senses toxicity and jolts you awake to deal with the threat. A 2022 study from the University of Naples found that older adults with low selenium levels were 42% more likely to wake up multiple times during the night. They discovered that when that master enzyme isn't functioning, your body fires off cortisol far too early as a defensive mechanism. There's a second layer involving your thyroid because selenium is absolutely critical for converting inactive T4 hormone into the active T3 version. This conversion happens largely in your liver and kidneys, requiring a selenium-based enzyme to strip away an iodine molecule so your metabolism works. When a senior falls low in selenium, this conversion crawls, leading to daytime fatigue and a paradoxical nighttime wiredness that keeps you awake. Let me tell you about Beatrice, a 74-year-old woman from North Carolina who had been waking up at roughly 3 a.m. for almost 3 straight years. She felt ejected from sleep and would lie there feeling a sense of dread, blaming menopause, anxiety, or even her mattress for the problem. Finally, functional medicine doctor ran a panel showing her selenium levels were at just 68 micrograms per liter when optimal health requires around 100. She started a protocol involving 100 micrograms of selenomethion each morning, and within 3 weeks her deep sleep duration increased by 22%. After 6 weeks, her 3 a.m. wake-ups happened only once a week, and after 8 weeks, they disappeared entirely as she slept until sunrise. If you want to achieve what Beatrice achieved, you need precision, because selenium is a Goldilocks mineral, where too little is bad, but too much is toxic. The ideal intake for seniors is between 100 to 200 micrograms per day, and while Brazil nuts are a strong source, they can be inconsistent. One nut might contain 100 micrograms, while another has only 10. So the rule is to eat exactly one Brazil nut every other day or use a supplement. You want L-solanomethion because it is the organic form found in yeast and plants, which is most easily absorbed by older digestive tracts. Timing is everything, so take your selenium in the morning with breakfast to work synergistically with your thyroid activity, which peaks early in the day. Avoid heavy processed oils in your evening meal because these inflammatory acids, fats can block selenium utilization and increase oxidative stress. Fixing your selenium is like repairing the shield that protects your sleep, but your heart needs a steady rhythm to keep you under, which brings us to number 4. Number 4 is the electrolyte that stabilizes your night pulse, because most people mistakenly think dehydration only affects daytime energy. Seniors do not realize that low potassium is one of the biggest silent triggers for early morning awakenings. Even at subclinical levels, a drop of just 3 to 5% in your cellular levels is enough to change the electrical stability of your heart while you sleep. Have you ever laid in bed hearing your own heartbeat thumping in your ear, or felt a skip sensation that made you catch your breath? A study in the journal Sleep Medicine found that adults over 60 with the lowest potassium intake had significantly more sleep. Fragmentation between 2:30 and 4 a.m. To understand why, we have to look at the sodium-potassium pump, which works like a revolving door, pushing sodium out and pulling potassium in. This exchange acts like a battery that powers your nerves, and when you sleep, your heart relies on this pump to keep a steady metronomic beat. If you are low in potassium, that pump begins to stutter and leaves your heart muscles slightly irritable, leading to microarrhythmias or palpitations. Your brainstem interprets this tiny electrical flutter as a major danger signal and floods you with norepinephrine to wake you up immediately. Potassium also controls how your kidneys manage fluid volume, which explains why many of you wake up at 3 a.m. needing to use the bathroom. When potassium is low, water leaks out of your cells and pools in your legs during the day, causing swollen ankles by the evening. When you lie down to sleep, gravity no longer pulls that fluid down, so it rushes back into your chest and signals your kidneys to flush it out. Seniors often become low in potassium because blood pressure medications and diuretics force your kidneys to excrete it along with sodium. Excessive sodium intake from salty dinners also aggressively pushes potassium out of your body, as does chronic low-level stress, which drains it rapidly. Let me introduce you to Kenneth, 79-year-old retired engineer who woke up at 3:15 a.m. almost every single night feeling wired but tired. Kenneth had a habit of watching the late news with pretzels, not realizing the massive salt load was stripping his body of potassium right before bed. A simple electrolyte test revealed his potassium was technically normal, but at the very bottom of the barrel, which is too low for a stable cardiac rhythm. His doctor told him to cut the pretzels and start eating half an avocado 2 hours before bed to stabilize his levels naturally. Within 2 weeks, he stopped waking up to use the bathroom. And within 6 weeks, the wired feeling in his chest vanished completely. To replicate these results, aim for a high intake of 2,600 to 3,400 milligrams per day. But you must eat your way there rather than using supplements. Start by adding the evening anchor habit, where you eat 1 medium banana or half an avocado exactly 2 hours before you go to bed. While a banana contains around 420 milligrams of potassium, an avocado is superior if you are watching blood sugar because it contains healthy fats. The secret sauce is that potassium is best utilized at night when paired with magnesium, as magnesium holds the door open so potassium can enter the cell. Taking a small dose of magnesium glycinate with your evening snack can amplify the calming effect of potassium by up to 30%. Avoid high-sodium meals within 3 hours of sleep because salt is the enemy of sleep depth and cancels potassium's ability to stabilize your nerves. Once you stabilize the electrical rhythm of your heart, you stop the physical jolts. But there is another system that keeps your mind racing. This brings us to mineral number 3, which controls how your brain shuts down the mental chatter that haunts you in the middle of the night. Number 3 is the zinc circuit breaker, which most seniors only think about when they feel a sneeze coming on or during flu season. However, most people don't realize that zinc is one of the most powerful neuroregulators in the human body, especially for the aging brain. The shocking part is that even a mild zinc deficiency can disrupt your brain's ability to flip the switch from active mode to sleep mode. Researchers describe zinc as a neural circuit stabilizer, acting like a security guard that walks through an office building at night turning off the lights. A landmark 2021 study from Kwanghi University followed 890 adults and discovered a direct linear relationship where those with low quit zinc intake had dramatically higher rates of nighttime awakenings. The most common wake-up time for the zinc-deficient group was right around 3 a.m. And this happens because of a molecule called GABA. GABA is your brain's primary calming neurotransmitter, acting as the chemical of letting go that tells your neurons to stop firing. Biologically, GABA cannot bind effectively to its receptors without zinc, because zinc physically alters the shape of the receptor to make it sticky. When you are low in zinc, your GABA receptors become slippery, so the calming signal bounces off, leaving your brain leaking excitatory signals all night.
Ow.
This explains why you can feel exhausted in your body while your mind is running a marathon. Thinking about conversations from 5 years ago, zinc also controls how your body manages inflammation during the deep night, specifically between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. when your immune activity shifts. If you have chronic low-grade inflammation, your body releases molecules called cytokines, which act like loud sirens to the brain unless zinc keeps them in check. Seniors with low zinc tend to experience a cytokine storm right around 3 a.m. as their natural cortisol begins to rise. If zinc is low, that cortisol spike becomes exaggerated and acts like a shot of bad espresso, jolting your brain awake even if you have only slept for 3 hours. Low zinc often pairs with a dangerous imbalance of copper, because these two minerals compete for absorption in the body. In the modern diet, we get plenty of copper from pipes and grains, but very little zinc. And high copper acts as a stimulant that increases adrenaline. This imbalance is a recipe for a racing mind at night, causing restless sleep and incredibly vivid or stressful dreams that feel physical. Most seniors need to focus on restoring zinc first to rebalance the scale, aiming for a correct ratio of roughly 10-to-1 in favor of zinc. Let me tell you about Rosalie, a 76-year-old grandmother from Maine, who had nightly wake-ups between 3 o'clock and 3:20 a.m. like clockwork. It wasn't pain that woke her, but her brain simply turning on. And despite trying white noise machines and herbal tea, nothing worked. A routine blood panel revealed her serum zinc was at 62 micrograms per deciliter, which is dangerously close to the clinical deficiency line. Her doctor put her on a specific protocol of 22 milligrams of zinc bisglycinate taken each night, and in just 10 days her awakenings dropped significantly. By week 4, she was sleeping for 6.5 hours straight, telling her doctor that the silence in her brain was something she hadn't experienced in decades. She was finally getting REM sleep again, which is why her mood improved so drastically during the day, proving the power of proper mineral balance. To restore your zinc levels naturally, you must get the chemistry right, knowing that seniors absorb zinc best in the evening rather than the morning. Taking it at night helps flood the brain with that calming influence right before the critical 3 a.m. window. With an ideal dose between 20 and 30 milligrams, you must avoid zinc oxide entirely, as it is the substance found in cheap multivitamins and sunscreen, which your body absorbs almost none of. Instead, look for zinc picolinate or zinc bisglycinate, because these are chelated forms wrapped in amino acids that smuggle it through your gut lining. A crucial warning is to never take zinc at the same time as calcium or iron supplements, because they fight for absorption channels and zinc always loses. Take it at least 2 hours after dinner to ensure your stomach acid is ready to process it, effectively silencing the racing mind. Now that we have silenced the mind with zinc, we must solve the mechanical problem where the rhythm itself is broken. This brings us to mineral number 2, the calcium rhythm regulator, a mineral that most seniors have been brainwashed to believe is only relevant for bone health. While you might think about calcium when worrying about osteoporosis, neurologists are just beginning to emphasize its role as a primary sleep rhythm regulator. It is the chemical signal that tells your brain not just to fall asleep but to stay asleep, because without it, your brain cannot manufacture sleep hormones. We all know about melatonin, but it doesn't appear out of thin air. It is made from an amino acid called tryptophan via a specific chemical pathway. Your body converts tryptophan into serotonin and then into melatonin. But the enzymes that perform this conversion are entirely calcium dependent. Calcium acts as the ignition key for this chemical factory. So if your blood calcium levels are low, the factory shuts down and melatonin production stops. A study from the Journal of Sleep Research monitored 1,150 older adults and found that those with the lowest calcium intake had significantly more sleep fragmentation. The majority of them woke up specifically between 2:45 and 3:30 a.m., a timing that is directly linked to the function of the parathyroid glands. Your body has a natural rhythm for calcium controlled by these glands, and for many seniors, calcium levels naturally dip to their lowest point around 3 a.m. This is called the calcium nadir. And if you are already running low, that natural dip pushes you into a critical deficiency zone where sleep cannot be maintained. It can initiate sleep just fine at 10 p.m., but it runs out of fuel to maintain it past the 3 a.m. dip, leading to early awakenings. Symptoms aren't just waking up, as many experience hypnic jerks or restless legs right as they are drifting off or in the middle of the night. This is often a calcium transport failure because calcium regulates nerve transmission, and when it is low, nerve endings become hypersensitive and fire randomly. You might wonder about the calcium paradox where calcium builds up in your arteries while you have a deficiency in your cells. The key is getting calcium into the right place, which requires vitamin K2 and magnesium. But first you must ensure you are using the right source. Seniors should aim for 600 to 800 milligrams of calcium per day specifically from food, because it is absorbed slowly and steadily, which is perfect for sleep. Excellent sources include leafy greens, sesame seeds, sardines with the bones left in, and high-quality Greek yogurt, which provides sustained release. If you must supplement, check your bottle immediately, and if it says calcium carbonate, throw it away because it is essentially limestone. Calcium carbonate requires strong stomach acid to break down. But as we age, our stomach acid becomes weaker, so the pill just sits there causing bloating. Instead, choose calcium citrate, because it is pre-acidified, meaning it absorbs easily, even if you have weak digestion, but never take more than 200 milligrams at a time. The secret is timing, so take your calcium source in the evening with a light snack 2 to 3 hours before bed to utilize its mild sedative effect. Never take it with high-fiber foods like bran cereal because fiber acts like a net and traps the calcium, preventing it from reaching your blood. Let me introduce you to Harold, 72-year-old retired teacher from Pennsylvania, who kept waking at 3:10 a.m. with what he described as brain flickers. He felt tiny electrical jolts in his head that pulled him out of deep sleep, leaving him feeling like he had just missed a step on a staircase. His dietary calcium intake was estimated at only 400 milligrams a day because he had stopped eating dairy, thinking it was inflammatory. His doctor suggested adding a small evening serving of organic Greek yogurt plus a microdose of 200 mg calcium citrate at 7 p.m. The results were shocking, as the brain flickers stopped completely after just 2 weeks, proving his nervous system finally had the material to stabilize synapses. After a month, he was sleeping from 10 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. consistently, realizing for the first time how brittle his sleep had been before. Harold fixed his rhythm by feeding his brain the calcium it was starving for. But even calcium is not the king of sleep minerals. None of these minerals compare to the one at number 1, which is the missing nutrient responsible for the single most common wake-up pattern. This is the master switch, and without it, your body is permanently stuck in fight-or-flight mode regardless of how much you meditate. Number 1 is the magnesium sleep switch. The mineral almost nobody talks about in medical urgencies, yet is the top cause of 3 o'clock a.m. wake-ups. Magnesium acts as the master switch of your nervous system, controlling the parasympathetic system responsible for deep relaxation, slow-wave sleep, and digestion. Acts as a natural calcium channel blocker, serving as the bouncer that stops calcium from rushing into the cell and triggering a panic signal. A massive 2023 study in the journal Nutrients found that magnesium deficiency was a stronger predictor of early morning awakenings than alcohol, caffeine, or lack of exercise. Seniors with low magnesium were found to be 3 times more likely to wake up, specifically between 2:50 and 3:20 a.m. due to cortisol regulation failures. Around 3 a.m., your cortisol naturally rises slightly, and without enough magnesium, that small curve becomes a massive surge that snaps you awake with racing thoughts. There is also a physical component called the microclench, where low magnesium causes your muscles to stay tense during sleep, even if you don't consciously feel it. Your brain interprets that unconscious physical tension as a threat, thinking you are in danger and waking you up to fight it, which explains morning stiffness. You must avoid magnesium oxide, which is only 4% absorbed, and instead choose magnesium glycinate or bisglycinate, which lowers body temperature and calms the brain. If you want to focus specifically on racing thoughts, look for magnesium L-threonate, which is the only form capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier directly. Seniors should aim for 200 to 400 milligrams daily, taken 60 to 90 minutes before bed, avoiding magnesium citrate if you struggle with loose stools. A game-changing tip is to take your magnesium with a healthy fat snack like almonds and warm your hands and feet to improve blood circulation and absorption. Let me tell you about Marianne, 78-year-old from Oregon who spent 5 years waking up at 2:55 a.m. convinced she had a cursed clock. Her doctor ordered an RBC magnesium test, which revealed her levels were barely within the lower range, confirming a hidden deficiency. She began taking 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate nightly with warm socks. And within just 4 days, she began sleeping until 4:30 a.m. After 6 weeks, her general anxiety dropped and her morning blood pressure normalized, proving that correcting the mineral architecture fixes the sleep problem. So let's recap the protocol that could change your nights forever, starting with selenium to put out the inflammatory fire in your cells. Number 4 is potassium, to stabilize your heart rate and stop the thump-thump sound in your ear that wakes you up. Number 3 is zinc, to silence the racing thoughts and reset your neural circuit breaker so your brain can actually turn off. Number 2 is calcium, to fuel the production of sleep hormones and prevent those tiny muscle twitches that pull you out of deep sleep. And finally, magnesium, the master switch that blocks cortisol and keeps your body in deep repair mode throughout the night. Now you understand the chemistry controlling your sleep, and the most important message is that your body can still learn to sleep deeply again. Seniors, waking up at 3 a.m. is not just your age, and it is not a life sentence. It is simply a signal of missing minerals. Your body is wiser than you think, because when something wakes you up at the same time every night, that is not random chance, that is chemistry. The good news is that your body is incredibly responsive once you give it the raw materials it has been missing for years. Imagine lying down tonight knowing you will sleep through the night and waking up with steady energy, because you deserve nights that heal you instead of break you. Now we want to hear from you. So tell us in the comments what time you usually wake up and which mineral you suspect you are missing. We read every single comment to help each other find the solution. So thank you for watching, and here's to your best night's sleep in years.